Hey everyone, welcome to Final Cut Pro Radio TV. We're going to wait for a few people to drop in here. Some live. If you have any comments, you can go ahead and comment in the chat. What I figured I was going to do is just have this live event before the summertime. The summertime is notoriously bad for Final Cut Pro news. Let me make sure that I'm there. I'm live, okay. Bring the volume up a little bit. I got to do the controls myself. So here we go. So there we go. So anyway, so we're getting ready for the summer of 2018. This is Memorial Day weekend. And the summertime is, like I said, is notoriously bad for anything happening with Final Cut Pro in the Final Cut Pro world. So I figured I'm going to do this one live event now. I might do one or two more over the summertime just to keep things kind of rolling. Of course, Final Cut Pro Radio will continue over the summer. We'll have an episode out in June and July and August as well. So after the summertime is over, we are going to head into the fall. September is typically a time when the rumors start percolating. So we got a couple of comments already. Rob Mills said, well, I've canceled my Adobe subscription. Congratulations, Rob. That's a good thing. You don't have to pay for the rest of your life for software. What, we paid $300 for Final Cut Pro 7 years ago, and we haven't paid any more since then for all the updates that they've given us. Yari Innanen says, hello from Finland. How you doing, Yari? Anyway, the summertime is really slow. Then we get in September, the rumors start percolating. Of course, the biggest rumor that starts percolating is about the Final Cut Pro Creative Summit. That's typically been the last 2 years, the last weekend in October, and both times, and 2 years ago, they introduced Final Cut Pro 10.3 at that event, right before that event, actually. And then last year, they gave us a preview of Final Cut Pro 10.4 at the Apple campus. So that's what's happened the last 2 years. My guess is we're going to see the exact same thing happen this year. It's going to be around the last weekend in October again, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And Apple most likely will have something to show us. Now, they've done something different this time, Apple has. With 10.4.1, they've given us features, which they haven't done the last 2 years. So we could just see a feature update at the Creative Summit. But we also could see a preview of Final Cut Pro 10.5, which might not even come out until 2019, excuse me. It might not come out till after the first of the year, but we still could see a preview. Last year they previewed 10.4. It came out in December, so they certainly could do that again this year. That's what I'm expecting. And we're hoping, we typically get a trip to Apple headquarters. We get to see the Final Cut Pro team. They're over there. They give a presentation. I certainly hope we get to go to the Spaceship campus this year, although I've heard that the Final Cut Pro team is actually not in the Spaceship campus. They're right outside of it. But that wouldn't stop us from going to tour the Spaceship campus, I don't think. That's not confirmed, but it's a possibility in my opinion. So Rob Mills says he wants to see a roles-based mixer when any update comes out. I'd like to see that myself. A roles-based mixer would be most welcome, however they incorporate it. So like I said, I'm going to do another one of these live events over the summer, maybe June, maybe July. And Final Cut Pro Radio will continue over the summer months. Speaking of Final Cut Pro radio and podcasting, so they've announced that Apple has announced 50 billion, with a B, podcast downloads. 50 billion since they came out. Can you imagine? So I've contributed over 1 million downloads to that number. I started podcasting in 2005, in March of 2005, which was 3 months before Apple even started including podcasting in iTunes. And the combination of my main two podcasts, I have over 1 million downloads. That happened back in January. So let's see what we got here. I'm going to get to some Final Cut Pro news. So, have you guys heard any news of Final Cut Pro? I've got a couple of things I'm going to be talking about. So that's from Braden Stores. He's the FCP editor on Facebook and also on Twitter as well. He also runs one of the largest Final Cut Pro 10 Facebook groups. So on his Twitter feed, Mark Bach has announced that the iMac Pro, they have refurbished models out now. Now, I think if you get the refurb, you get the full warranty, but you save about 15% if I'm not mistaken. Braden Stores, who is in charge, like I said, of one of the largest Final Cut Pro Facebook groups, is on this edition, the latest edition of Final Cut Pro Radio. There's a whole bunch of people on Final Cut Pro Radio. We have the best Final Cut Pro editors from around the world there. As you can see, Braden Stores was the last one. We just had Serena Catania. We had Noah Cadner, Bill Davis, April Producer Girl Simpson on Twitter, Chris Hawking from Command Post, whole bunch of people. We have the best. We have the best available. Now here's what Rob Mills was talking about. So the LACPUG is having their 18th anniversary event on Wednesday, June the 27th. And at that event, there's two big things. They're having Randy Ubelos is going to be there. He's going to do a Q&A on stage. And after Randy gets done, they're going to premiere, worldwide premiere in public, Off the Tracks, Bradley Olson's documentary about Final Cut Pro. I'm going to be there for that. I'm going to fly in just for that one day for that event. You can find out more at the lacpug.org website. You can buy tickets. I think tickets are $10 for that event. But once again, Randy Ubelos will be on stage. He's going to do a Q&A. And then I think Brad's going to talk as well. He's going to talk before the actual screening of the movie. Then we also have an article over at the TechCrunch. Apple's 2019 Mac Pro will be shaped by workflows. So according to the TechCrunch article, they had a meeting with Apple, a new division within Apple dedicated to professional grade hardware like the iMac Pro and the 2019 Mac Pro. They have a new team called the Pro Workflow Team. It's part of Apple's effort to better understand what Pro users want and need. So Mike Horton chimed in on the chat, and he said tickets for Randy Ubelos and Off the Tracks go on sale Thursday, May 31st at 9 a.m. Pacific. Thank you, Michael. Like I said, I'm planning on flying in just for the one day. I helped Brad edit that documentary, so I definitely want to be there for the premiere. So TechCrunch has said Apple has actually hired creative professionals as full-time and part-time consultants to work with Apple on building products around their needs. Apple says its new Pro workflow team that's made up of these professionals is instrumental in shaping what the new modular Mac Pro is becoming. Now that's interesting. They're saying is becoming, which means it's not done yet. So it's still being shaped up. So they said it'll be out in 2019. That's what they said now. That could be the end of 2019. I'd really like to see a sneak preview of it. Apple says we're getting a much, much deeper understanding of our Pro customers and their workflows and really understanding not only where the state of the art is today, but where the state of the art is going. And that's what we're doing on the Mac Pro. We're really working really hard on it. That's what they said. I, for one, am looking forward to that. So Michael Horton also says those who donated to Off the Tracks Kickstarter campaign get in free to the show via a code. I am sure Brad will notify you with that code soon. We'll try to have Brad on before the event, on one of these live events. So that's good to know. If you contributed to the Kickstarter campaign, Michael Horton says that you will get a code to get in free. So there was a massive documentary edited in Final Cut Pro. And there's an article up about it. The article is by Ruben Evans, and he has an extensive workflow. It is really extensive. He goes through all the different steps he goes. So some friends of mine have got a new podcast. It's called Get a Grip. My friends Gabriel, Sam, and Philippe. You can find it on YouTube. Do a search there. They have 4 episodes up. They don't just talk about Final Cut Pro. They talk about post-production, a lot of camera stuff, gear stuff. But they also include Final Cut Pro. They're all Final Cut Pro editors. So Johnny Elwin has a massive collection of all things Resolve 15. I don't know about you, but I'm very curious about Resolve. If for some reason I couldn't edit on Final Cut Pro, Resolve would probably be the place that I would go. So that's some of the latest news for Final Cut Pro. So what do you guys expect from WWDC this year? Last year, they did a preview of the iMac Pro there at WWDC. So that certainly would be interesting if they did something like that with the Mac Pro this year. Don't know if they're going to, but that would be very interesting if they did. They also previewed the Mac Pro 2013 Mac Pro at the WWDC. So there was an article. Let me see if I can find that. Yeah, there's an article on Cult of Mac. What do you think about Apple making Final Cut Pro a subscription? This guy who doesn't really have a lot of hits, Gene Munster, he's made a lot of misses on Apple prediction. He said Apple could be following on other high-tech companies by charging a monthly subscription fee for Pro apps. Boy, I think we'd start a revolution if that happened. What do you guys think? That's over there at cultofmac.com. It's an article. He's saying they could make billions. Well, they probably could, but they had 500 new seats last year, right? And the 500 new seats, that's $150 million they made from those seats. I'm not so sure that that's a good idea. What do you guys think about a subscription model for the Pro apps? I doubt it. I doubt it. I know I'd be aggravated if that was the case. Rob Mills in the chat says, I hope they don't do that. You and I both. So I'm going to just keep this one short today. Like I said, I just wanted to put something up before the summer months started. And I will be let me see. I'll be keeping things updated for over the summer months, both on these live events and, of course, Final Cut Pro Radio. You can get that in Apple's podcast section of iTunes. That's where it is. Let me see here. Escape. There we go. Back to normal. Rob Mills says, I paid for Premiere Pro because I had to, and I didn't think I got value for money. Well, Premiere Pro is, it's the model that Premiere Pro itself, I don't have any problem with. I do have a problem with the Adobe subscription model because you can never stop paying. But if that suits you, that's fine. It doesn't make any difference to me. All the major NLEs, you got Avid, you have Premiere, you have Resolve, which is really, really going to be taking over, I think, especially in Hollywood, because you already have Resolve in a lot of the studios for color correcting. They're sneaking their NLE in the way Apple snuck when they had the original iPod. They made it for Windows, and they snuck the Apple ecosystem in on Windows users. Since Resolve's already in a lot of the major studios, I bet you it's going to be coming up as an NLE to reckon with in the Hollywood infrastructure. So what do you guys think? Who all is going to the Creative Summit if it happens this year? I haven't heard anything specific. We're supposed to hear at the end of May something specific about it. Future Media Concepts puts that on. I don't know about you, but I'm really looking forward to seeing what the Mac Pro becomes. See what they have up their sleeve. Well, I'm going to sign off here for today. We've been on for about a half hour. That's enough for this edition of Final Cut Pro Radio TV, combination of the two. I mean, we could see a bug fix between now and the Creative Summit. That's very possible, but if not, then we'll have to wait for the Creative Summit and see what Apple does. They'll do something, regardless of what's going on. They will do something. They'll have something special for us. And those who are going to be at the LACPUG event on Wednesday, June 27th, I will hopefully see you all there. Make sure you say hi. I'll be there with supporting Brad and his Off the Tracks movie, world debut of that. And if there's anything else, send it my way, and I'll try to include it in the next live edition of Final Cut Pro TV Radio. So until the next time, this is Richard Taylor signing off. Thanks for watching.